Another meeting is being held at Nickelodeon, and they are discussing about doing another spin-off series for Rugrats. And the meeting probably went something like this. Hey you guys, since Rugrats is becoming a huge hit for the channel, we should make a spin-off series for the show. I know! Why don't we do a spin-off series where Angelica and Susie go to preschool and call Angelica and Susie's Preschool Daze? No, no, no! We are not going through this again. It may have worked for All Grown Up, but we don't need another spin-off series for Rugrats. Well, we could rename it Rugrats Preschool Daze. But a spin-off series about Angelica and Susie going to preschool when that was already done in the original series? Maybe we should scrap it. Exactly. Caution. The following video is an in-depth review of the TV series I'm currently reviewing, which means that there will be massive spoilers in the review. If you haven't seen this TV series yet, then please feel free to watch this TV series first before watching this video. However, if you have already seen this TV series, or you just want to know my thoughts on this TV series, then keep watching. This video was requested to me by LauraOnDuty, and if you want to request a movie or TV series for me to review for the Reviews 2.0 series, then please feel free to comment down below. So way back in 2013, I did a TV show review on one of the spin-off series made for Rugrats called Angelica and Susie's Preschool Daze, which was also known as Rugrats Preschool Daze. Out of all the spin-offs that was made for Rugrats, which were just 2, this series was the lesser known of the 2 as it only ran for 4 episodes. 4 episodes! That's the record for the shortest running Nicktoon on the planet so far. Anyway, it didn't help that it was nearly impossible to track down these episodes since Nickelodeon rarely ran the show on its own network. Luckily though, Paramount was able to release all 4 episodes of the series on the Tales from the Crypt movies that were released on DVD, which included Snow White and 3 Jack and the Beanstalk. I actually owned the Snow White one, and that was how I was able to find out about this series. The history behind this show was pretty interesting to me. The show was actually pitched to Nickelodeon in 2001, and it was meant to be the first spin-off series for Rugrats. But when the All Grown Up special proved to be so successful, Nickelodeon decided to focus all its attention on the All Grown Up spin-off series, and Angelica and Susie's Preschool Daze was put on hold. It wasn't until 2008 that Angelica and Susie's Preschool Daze finally premiered on Nickelodeon, and it proved to be a massive failure. This was probably due to the fact that at this time, Rugrats was waning in popularity, and SpongeBob SquarePants had become the new popular Nicktoon for the network. So on face value, how did this show end up failing? Well, I have a few theories that's mostly related to the quality of the show itself rather than any outside factors. But before I get into my thoughts about this show, I would like to give out a brief summary about this show. And it's pretty brief because this show didn't last long enough to have a more developed story. The premise of the show is based off a few episodes from the original series where Angelica and Susie were going to preschool. And the show itself was basically about Angelica and Susie's adventures in preschool while they deal with other characters like Harold, Savannah, and their teacher Miss Weimer. See? I told you this was going to be a brief summary. Anyway, I had mentioned before that I had reviewed this show several years ago during my requested videos week, and now that I look back at my original video of this review, with a bit of dread because of how faulty my equipment was at the time, I found out that my opinions about the show have remained the same. So allow me to go into more detail about that. But a bit of a warning here, this review will probably be very short compared to my other videos since there's not much to say about the show since it only ran for 4 episodes. But I will try my best to reach that special 10-minute mark for this video. So let's start with the positive things first. First off, I did like the premise of the show. Even though we have already seen Angelica and Susie as toddlers in the original series, it was quite interesting seeing Angelica and Susie go into preschool. Normally in the original series, we would see Angelica and Susie interacting with the babies, but in this series, we get to see Angelica and Susie interacting with other kids their ages. And this show did a good job of showcasing the relationships that Angelica and Susie had with their preschool teacher and the other kids. I also like the fact that the show tried to expand more on Angelica and Susie's relationship with both Savannah and Harold. If you had seen All Grown Up, you'll notice that both Savannah and Harold had a much larger role in that series than they had in the original series. It was nice seeing how both Savannah and Harold were like in preschool and how the relationships with Angelica and Susie had developed over the course of the franchise. Savannah is still shown as being the rival towards Angelica, and she still tries to trick Angelica into doing things that she isn't supposed to do. Like in one episode, she tricks Angelica into playing the part of the tree because both she and Angelica wanted to play Martha Washington in the school play. And then you have Harold, who's like the third wheel in the group as he just seems to go along with whatever plans that Angelica, Susie, or Savannah have cooked up for the situation. I also like the fact that Angelica, Susie, Harold, and Savannah still remain about the same characters that we saw in All Grown Up. Even though in All Grown Up they are much older and have experienced the world a bit more, they still have some aspects of their personalities that never completely change. Angelica and Savannah are still uptight and temperamental, while Susie is still the voice of reason. It shows that even though you are much older and you have experienced more of the world, you may still have some old habits that will never completely go away. And now I would like to talk a bit about Angelica and Susie's preschool teacher, Miss Weimer. Miss Weimer seems like a pretty interesting character, as she is shown as constantly being a nervous wreck and trying to get through her days the best way that she can. I do often wonder about why Miss Weimer is such a nervous wreck in this series, as the series never really explore her backstory. I mean, sure, it can be really difficult to teach children at times, especially if they are notorious troublemakers, but I often wonder if Miss Weimer had suffered a nervous breakdown at some point in her life to make her to such a nervous wreck. Though, to be fair, the show only lasted for 4 episodes, so there wasn't enough time to explore these characters' backstories. I also like the humor of the show, as it seemed to harken back to the early years of Rugrats, although it's not as dark as some of the humor from the earlier seasons. I had complained in my original review of the series that I found the humor to be dumbed down due to them relying more on gross-out humor and not incorporating enough jokes that would make adults laugh. Well, 2013 me? I may have to disagree with you a bit there. While this series does have a fair share of gross-out humor, I actually found myself chuckling at some of the dialogue from the characters. It seems like the characters are self-aware of their situations and make light of their situations, and I really enjoy seeing that type of humor in this series. Another thing that I liked about the show was that they used the same voice actors, in this case Cheryl Chase as Angelica and Cree Summer Susie, from the original series to voice the characters. I had complained in my review of All Grown Up about how using the same voice actors from the original series had made the characters sound like babies in the bodies of 10-year-old kids. I think that should become a meme for my videos whenever I'm mentioning All Grown Up. I still think that they should have used real kids to voice the characters in their preteen years. However, in the case of Angelica and Susie's preschool days, using the same voice actors actually worked because Angelica and Susie are still toddlers in the series like they were in the original series. Now that I talked about the things that I liked about the show, I would like to talk about some of the problems that I had with the show. The main problem that I had with the show was that I felt that there were some aspects of the premise that were similar to the original series. In the original series, Angelica and Susie were toddlers, who would occasionally use their imaginations to figure out a situation, just like the other babies did. Although since they are much older than the other Rugrats, they tend to know a bit more about the world than the babies do. In this series, while Angelica, Susie, and their classmates didn't really use their imaginations much, this is still a show about young kids trying to understand the world that they live in. Also, another big issue with this series is that it premiered after All Grown Up, and because All Grown Up had already established the relationships between Susie, Angelica, Savannah, and Harold, it felt pointless to see how these 4 characters had developed their relationships that would continue through their preteen years. If this show had premiered before All Grown Up, like it was originally planned, then it would have been a great bridge between the original series and All Grown Up, as it would have established the relationships between Angelica, Susie, Harold, and Savannah early on, and we would have seen just how much of their relationship with each other had changed over the years. Another issue that I had with the show was the new designs for the characters. I honestly don't know why they changed the designs for the characters in the series, although I'm guessing it's because they didn't want to confuse the viewers with the actual preschool Daze episode from the original series. But the characters look a bit too odd in this series, which is saying something since Rugrats tends to have an odd art style of its own. I didn't like the fact that the characters' eyes were a bit shaded, and the fact that they have eye colors made them look even weirder. The only thing that I liked about the new art style was that the colors were much brighter compared to the original series, and it made the environments really stand out. Angelica and Susie's preschool days ran for 1 season with a total of 4 episodes, making this one of the shortest running Nicktoons on the channel. It's kinda ironic that this was a spin-off series for Rugrats, since Rugrats is one of the longest running Nicktoons on the network, at least until SpongeBob SquarePants came along. Overall, I'm giving Angelica and Susie's preschool days a question mark, which means an average rating. I thought that the premise of the show was pretty interesting, and it was great seeing Angelica and Susie in preschool and interacting with other kids their ages. Also, I thought that the humor was pretty spot on, even if there were a couple of gross moments that made me cringe a bit. But I felt that the show had premiered on Nickelodeon a little too late, and that it was a bit pointless for the show to be trying to develop both Angelica and Susie's characters. Not only did we already see Angelica and Susie in preschool in the original series, but the other spin-off series All Grown Up had already established Angelica, Susie, Harold, and Savannah's relationship with each other. If this show had been the first spin-off series made, like how it was originally intended, then things would have been a lot more different. So how could we improve this show? Simple. Make the series into a reboot, or into a revival, or whatever Nickelodeon wants to do with this franchise in the near future, and make the Rugrats themselves into preschoolers while Angelica and Susie are in kindergarten. It would be a different experience for the characters, as they would have to go to school and deal with other kids while still trying to understand the world for what it is. Hope you enjoyed my review of Angelica and Susie's preschool days. And bam! I finally reviewed all of the TV shows in the Rugrats franchise. I never in a million years would have guessed that this would happen. I usually have a rough time in trying to review all of the movies and TV shows in one franchise. So what's next then? Is there anything else in the Rugrats franchise that I need to review? Ah yes, the movies. I can't wait to sink my teeth into those soon. I'll see you guys next time for another Rugrats review video.
Now it's time for... So if you like Angelica and Susie's preschool Daze, then I would highly recommend Rugrats. It's the show that started the franchise, and it's a great introduction to the baby characters. If you like another spinoff that featured the Rugrats, then I recommend All Grown Up. It features the Rugrats characters as preteens. And if you like another Nicktoon that has a school setting, then I highly recommend Hey Arnold. Psst. Hey you. Have you been enjoying the Reviews 2.0 videos? Want to get an added bonus for viewing these videos? Like getting early access to these videos before they are released on YouTube? Or being able to request what movies and TV shows I should review next? Then please feel free to support these videos through my Patreon account. Check out all of the tier titles on my account and choose which tier title you want to be known as. You could become a new member on the block, an early bird, be a part of the future Bunch team, a backstage passenger, an animation superstar, and last but not least, the honorary supreme. So show off your tier title name to the world once you support the Reviews 2.0 videos through Patreon.